You were too fast.
That's
You
okay.
should have taken more time.
Well, good afternoon, all. It's a pleasure to be with you here at the University of Iowa. It's been quite a process, hasn't it? Quite a several-week process. I've had a chance to talk to a number of you throughout the process, and I'll tell you, you've done an impressive amount of work here. I congratulate you on the entire process. I just, what I hear back is you worked it hard, learned a tremendous amount, and then I'm going to shatter about half of those images with my presentation, if you don't mind. I'm Mike Garvin. I'm president of RENACE LLC. It stands for Renewable Energy Network for Aggregated and Integrative Services. We'll get into that as we go on. I'm going to be talking about the 5 steps to success through innovation. Innovation is what you're all about. Your ideas are the center of innovation. How you're implementing those ideas. Tremendous amount of innovation. But innovation can be very dangerous, as some of you are finding out. You know the old adage that the Stone Age did not come to an end because they ran out of stone. They did not run out of stones. There's still plenty of stones around. It was a better idea. A better idea. Metals. And the way to process those metals came into play. Now, I wish we lived in similar and simpler times like the conversion in the Stone Age. I would like to be an entrepreneur at that point. Especially that I know now what I know. Innovation has driven economic prosperity throughout history. You may write your own chapter of that, and I hope you do. Penicillin, 1928. The printing press, the 1430s. The moldboard plow, 18th century, and Iowa benefited by that development. The steam turbine, 1884. And the sailboat, 4th millennium BC. Tremendous innovative ideas that propelled economies, wealth, progress beyond imagination. We've seen enough of it in our lives with the digital revolution. But we're just starting to get into a revolution, economic revolution, that will dwarf everything we've seen before and everything that's come before that. A recent report by McKinsey Global Institute estimates that there was a need for 56 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars in the next 15 years for the redesign of the global infrastructure. $56 trillion for communication, transportation, energy, and transmission. That is 100 times the amount that powered the digital revolution. 100 times the amount. We will live through the greatest economic revolution in history by magnitudes of tens and hundreds. The infrastructure revolution globally. Ideas will be needed. Innovation will be sorely sought. And I'm afraid sorely fought. Innovation is not easy, as you know. The 5 steps to success through innovation, I'll tell you right now, to clearly understand the need for your solution. And obviously that's what Venture School's been all about. Realistically set values on service of your product. Service or product. The value needs to be realistic. Assess the incumbent threat or opportunity. We heard a little bit about that in the panel just before my presentation. It can be a threat, it can be an opportunity. Design co-optation or confrontation strategies. I would rather be on the love side than the war side, so I'll tell you that right now. But sometimes you can't choose. Go to market with a rapid flexibility. Rapid flexibility is the keynote there. We need to be able to change our model as situations develop. I think one of the most destructive concepts in all of business practices is this adage that drives me crazy, that if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. That is nonsense. That has been the root of more failed companies than anything that I can think of. They will not beat a path to your door. The innovation is just the beginning of a long, hard-fought battle. If you are to emerge victorious, it is going to take perseverance. And I just talked with some of you at the break. It's going to take intelligence and persistence. Do not believe this lie. It is as dangerous as anything I can think of in business practice. Yeah, there may be people beating the path to your door, like the lawyers want to sue you for your lack of performance for your product before you've made $1. Maybe your competitors are already threatened and figure out how to submarine you or your family or your company, or distributors who want more profits out of your income, or warranty financing groups who want more money, or animal cruelty if you've got a mousetrap. Animal cruelty advocates, EPA, OSHA, IRS, they're going to beat a path to your door. But those aren't the people that you want to see. Those are not the people you want to see, obviously. Intelligence, business intelligence is so doggone good now that people that may perceive your innovation a threat will know months, maybe years before the market knows that you are developing this. Everybody that wishes you well, like venture capitalists, investment, will want to know how you're going to address these issues that threaten the incumbent groups. And there are going to be incumbent groups. The team that I was involved with here, we knew there was an incumbent group. Could we co-opt them? Could we collaborate with them? Or do we have to compete with them? That's always the question. Paradigm shift specialist. That's what I am. I don't know any other way to put it. My whole history has been, how do you take innovation and make it real? And I have the scars to prove it. I have been sued, I've been libeled, I've been slandered, I've been criticized, I've lost jobs, I've lost accounts because of misinformation and really dirty dealings. It started out with medical waste incinerators, and some of you have heard this story. We saw that there was cancer clusters around hospitals back in the early 1980s. Cancer clusters. Now, why would you have patients with cancer that close to a hospital? You should have an even distribution of population, shouldn't you? No. So we did soil tests at the University of Wisconsin, and air tests, and water tests, and there were lead, cadmium, zinc, mercury, and everything we could touch. Because hospitals were exempt from the Clean Air Acts. Their lobbying group, the American Hospital Association, had made it so. Because hospitals could not afford the price tag of retrofitting their 5,000 incinerators. But people could get cancer that lived close to their facility. Wasn't right. It took us 12 years, but a strategy that I designed brought this into play. The light blue diamonds are where hospital administrators or incinerators used to be. The 28 darker blue diamonds are where they are today. So we shut down 4,832 hospital-based incinerators. Now, do you think it was the goodwill that I created with hospital administration and they just loved me and my ideas and they just shut them down on their own volition? Oh, come on. Aren't I personable? No, you're right though. They wouldn't have done that. Even if it was the right thing to do, it was not the financially wise thing to do. And I realized that early on in my early 30s. We got to do something else. We have to give them a financial decision that is easy to make, which we did. I worked with an incumbent, there's that nasty word again, Garmy Ferris, and Waste Management, and we devised a system by where hospitals could pay 30% less on waste disposal if they shut down their incinerator. It would be a long-term contract, 10 to 15 years. They loved it. Saved money, got rid of their waste. It worked. And within a very short period of time, you saw the conversion. Then came along in '84 the AIDS crisis. And because I was successful in designing the hospital incinerator plan, and the hospitals were now faced with a higher cost for safety syringes, I was asked to start designing systems by which hospitals could save money but still be safer. That was a little bit of a trick. Because we had to design the systems for retractable needles or self-plugging needles or boxes, needle boxes, the whole works. Now back then you could throw a used syringe into a waste can. And every year we lose about 400 healthcare professionals to AIDS. Doesn't seem right. We went to worked primarily through the University of Maryland, and were successful in designing the technologies, designing the systems to eliminate those deaths in 4 years. Very proud of that. The center at the University of Maryland was given the MacArthur Award for that in 1980, early 90s. The last paradigm, or the second to last paradigm shift I created was webinars. My daughter had been diagnosed in 1998 with leukemia. At that time, I made most of my income by traveling and talking about paradigm shifts and medical waste and medical devices and such. And then I found out reality that when you have a child with leukemia, you better stay close to home. Because when she spikes a fever, it's 3 days in the hospital. With both parents working, it's very hard. And she had a twin. So I had to take care of the well child and also take care of the child with leukemia. So in one weekend, I gave away about $120,000 of business to associates and got $12,000 back for it, so I got 10%. So the entire year of 1999, I was broke. And thank God to a banker here, Dick Summerall, and others who came to my support and gave me signature loans to get me through that year. And then they asked me what I'm going to do, and I said, I don't know, but as soon as I figure it out, I'll let you know. I invented webinars. A team from California and a team from here in Iowa created dual communication modality conferencing. It's a fancy name for webinars. And we started up a company, AudioNet International. And we started running the same kind of programs that I did when I went out on the road. And then when 9/11 hit, the government asked me to get involved with Texas A&M University, where they had a huge medical response and terrorist response team, to start training communities for constant and persistent terrorist attacks. We didn't know. After 9/11, we didn't know it was going to happen every week or every month or every day. We just had to get the word out. We used our systems to do that. From hurricanes to chemical attacks, the whole works. I was proud to do that. But in 2007, I was handing in my resignation The work had been done, systems had been set up, there's nothing more for me to do, that I wouldn't have to repeat what I just did with Paradigm Shift. And I was approached by a Vice Chancellor at the Texas A&M University, and he said, can you solve climate change? I said, let me think about it. So that was 8 years ago, and I've been devoting my time to stopping carbon release worldwide. And we are going to win the battle. We are going to win the battle. Just heard the other day that our systems are being picked up by island nations all over the world. With hydrogen, stabilized wind and solar with battery support, energy storage, current and wave generation will be able to replace carbon producing generators within 7 years. So we're making our way. Really happy about that. For food production, depends upon a stable climate. We cannot have what's described in the book Collapse, where great civilizations have generated their own demise. China understands that, Australia, Germany, England, Central America, and certainly the Caribbean, where I do most of my work. My global network is now identifying technologies that will seamlessly either reduce air emissions or replace high air emission energy generation and transportation technologies through, and here's that dirty word again, incumbent enhancement models. We're not going to get off oil and gas overnight, but can we combine them with hydrogen and reduce air emissions by 72%? We're already doing that. The largest bus company in the world is in China, and they're looking at putting in all their buses. The United States will soon follow. Now we're doing testing with power generator plants in the Caribbean with heavy fuel oil. Once that's established, many will follow. So we're completing the carbon-free models, and technology creates tremendous opportunity for innovation. We're resetting the value of carbon-free technology without a government mandate, without a carbon tax. I've been at this a long time. I can design systems without government subsidies. Never depended upon them before, never will in the future. I can make the numbers work if you give me the right technologies. And we got the right technologies. So, that concludes the first section. We are going to get into the 5 steps immediately.